Tonight on CTV News, major break in the Robson Square murder.
A suspect, 17-year-old teenager, person from Surrey, has been taken into custody.
A teenager turns himself into police after a 15-year-old was stabbed to death in Robson Square. Was it connected to a brawl that broke out that night?
This is still a victory. It's been established he did it. He's going to get time.
The long wait for justice for the family of a young mother killed 8 years ago. Today, a conviction, but not for murder.
It essentially gives a carte blanche to all the developers to build high-rises all along the Broadway corridor without any public consultation.
The city is one step closer to fast-tracking development along Broadway and can be, why some say not so fast.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with breaking news and a major development in the murder of a 15-year-old Surrey boy. He was stabbed to death near Robson Square on a busy fireworks night. Now police say a teenager has turned himself in. CTV's St. John Alexander is working on the story. He joins us live from the Vancouver Police Headquarters. St. John, you spoke with police. What have you learned?
Yeah, so we're told it's a 17-year-old who essentially saw a police officer who was on duty last night and said he was turning himself in. This does not mean, Mi Jung, the investigation is over. Far from it. We're told there's lots to review, including a video we're going to show you now. You can see it's a large fight that broke out on Davie the night of the fireworks. You'll notice we have blurred it because minors are involved. It appears to involve many people. At some points, people thrown to the ground. The VPD is aware of the video and are reviewing it as part of the investigation. At the same time, they believe the 15-year-old victim was stabbed closer to the courthouses.
I can tell you that we're aware of videos that have been posted online following the fireworks on Saturday night, and we're reviewing those videos. Our investigation related to the homicide is focused around the area where the homicide occurred.
So now they're trying to figure out, is that video related to the stabbing? Was it a fight that just escalated and carried on later on that evening? That may be the case, it may not be, so just a warning there. The 17-year-old, we're told he is from Surrey, and he is in custody. We don't know how long. In terms of charges, if they do come, it will be some time, we're told. Generally in these cases, it does take some time. Mi Jung.
St. John Alexander reporting live tonight with a major update on the murder story. Thank you. More breaking news. The suspect in the deadly car ramming attack at Vancouver's Lapu-Lapu festival now faces more charges. The BC Prosecution Service has approved 3 more counts of second-degree murder against Kai G. Low after reviewing additional evidence submitted by homicide investigators. That brings the total count to 11, one for each victim of the April 26 tragedy.
Over the course of the past 3 months, we've presented additional evidence and information to Crown Counsel, and Crown Counsel has done their independent charge assessment process, ultimately concluded that the evidence supports the laying of 3 additional second-degree murder charges.
The 30-year-old remains in custody and is scheduled to attend a 2-day hearing this week on his mental fitness to stand trial. A man facing federal charges after allegedly stealing a small plane in Victoria and flying it to YVR made his first court appearance in Richmond today. CTV's Ben Milger has more on what happened and what comes next.
Accused of threatening a flight instructor at Victoria Flying Club before allegedly commandeering a Cessna, flying it across the Strait of Georgia and disrupting flights at Vancouver International Airport, Shahar Qasim faces charges of hijacking and interfering with or disrupting a navigation system. Qasim made a brief appearance by video, only speaking when the judge asked him to confirm his name. As the stolen plane approached YVR last Tuesday afternoon, the busy international airport went into a full ground stop and 9 passenger flights had to be diverted to other airports.
The international has been shut down due to terrorist activity. Maintaining 3000. What is your alternate?
NORAD scrambled American fighter jets towards Vancouver, but the Cessna landed safely at YVR before they arrived. RCMP arrested Kasim on the runway. According to social media profiles, he is a former commercial pilot for KD Air. Each of the two charges he faces can be upgraded with a terrorism designation.
If this were charged as a terrorism offense, the accused would be put in a reverse onus situation, which could make it more difficult to be granted bail. But the law and the grounds that the court is going to look at will remain the same no matter what type of offense is being alleged.
No date has been set for a bail hearing. Kasim remains in custody at Surrey Pretrial Center. His next appearance will also be here and by video next Tuesday. Ben Milger, CTV News, Richmond.
Emotional reaction inside a packed courtroom after a man was found guilty in the killing of a young Indigenous Abbotsford mother of two. The conviction comes just days before the 8th anniversary of her death. CTV's Michelle Bernaro has more.
The man covered up with a mask and hoodie as he enters the courthouse in Abbotsford is Gary Loesch. And following a trial that lasted months, he's about to learn his fate after being charged with the second-degree murder of 22-year-old Chelsea Gauthier.
He was a good person, a good soul, and you know, she was my best friend.
Gauthier, who was Métis, was last seen July 27, 2017, when she helped Loesch tend to his marijuana grow operation in a remote mountainous area near Mission. She was stabbed and her body was later found by police wrapped in a sheet and buried in a shallow grave on the mountain.
When she died, a part of me died because she had such an incredible sense of humor. She was goofy. She was fun.
The court heard Loesch had provided various versions to explain Gauthier's disappearance, but the judge didn't believe any of them, saying he satisfied Loesch killed the victim and that there were no other plausible theories or other possibilities. In finding the accused guilty of manslaughter rather than second-degree murder, the judge said Crown had failed to prove the element of intent. Mr. Loesch's attempts to conceal Miss Gauthier's body, his denial of being with her, and his lies to police do not necessarily equate to proof of intent.
This is still a victory. It's been established he did it. He's going to get time. We just hope that the system will give him as much time as possible.
Loesch was also found guilty of interfering with a body. Despite the convictions, he remains out on bail.
It boggles my mind. I don't get it. This is something that needs to change in our justice system. It really does.
You know, honestly, I think he's a flight risk, right? And it's very concerning.
Do you have anything to say to the victim's family?
Loesch's sentencing hearing is set for August 18th. Michelle Bernaro, CTV News, Abbotsford.
As the August 1st deadline looms for higher tariffs against Canada, the Prime Minister is signaling Canada may not be able to reach a trade deal by then. The premiers are meeting to work on bolstering our economy by removing barriers. But Premier David Eby wasn't always on the same page. CTV's Rob Buffum reports.
Canada's premiers met Tuesday with Prime Minister Carney, talking tariffs ahead of President Trump's August 1st deadline and efforts to unite Canada in the face of those threats.
We're focused on building our country, building positively, building here at home, building one Canadian economy.
BC and Ontario signing one of various deals to remove interprovincial trade barriers. There's one related to alcohol.
I have one of the finest wines in the country right here. This is from Mission Hill.
BC wine, and I heard, not from experience, BC Bud. Okay, they ship a lot into Ontario.
But pipeline politics were less pleasant, re-emerging as a point of contention. Alberta's Danielle Smith leading the charge by several provinces, pushing for a new pipeline through BC and the removal of tanker bans.
Our project that we want on the national project list is a bitumen pipeline to the northwest BC coast.
Premier Eby again expressing resistance.
For the pipeline project that Premier Smith is a great enthusiast of, a heavy oil pipeline project, there is no project, there is no proponent, there is no private sector money involved at all that I'm aware of.
Coastal BC First Nations more adamant in their opposition, sending an open letter to Carney.
The lifting of the oil tanker ban is not something that we can support, and nor will we ever provide our consent to.
The Prime Minister didn't directly address the issue, but said approved nation-building projects would inevitably involve multiple regions and First Nations support.
It has to benefit multiple stakeholders, multiple provinces, advance our interests, advance the interests of Indigenous people.
As for U.S. trade negotiations, there were few details and a range of views on whether Canada should launch counter tariffs if American ones go ahead next month. Premier Ford striking a notably hawkish tone.
Hit them back as hard as we possibly can.
Carney did indicate the August 1st deadline might be extended, and there was only a willingness to agree to a deal if it's a good one for Canada.
And Rob Buffum joins us live now from Victoria. Rob, what is up next for the premiers?
Well, Mijung, we're in the harbor here, and if you hear a loud noise, it's the Canadian snowbirds, perhaps a sign of patriotism here in Victoria. But as for what's next in Muskoka, it's the third and final day of the Premier's meeting. They'll have a press conference tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and it is a safe bet that both David Eby and Danielle Smith will be asked where they stand on pipelines and if either of them are willing to budge. Mijung.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Whether BC should be spending hundreds of millions of dollars on hosting the World Cup during a trade war is a fair question. The costs have ballooned, with the current estimate still unclear. The boss of the 2010 Olympics believes there's still time to ensure value for money. Our Penny Daflos has more from her exclusive interview with John Furlong, as well as the head of Vancouver's organizing committee.
From transportation to venues, the legacy of the 2010 Olympics is infrastructure for British Columbians, in addition to showcasing Vancouver as a tourism destination. How will the 2026 World Cup leave its mark? Is it worth the rumored $600 million price tag, particularly during a trade war? Is this the right time to be spending money on an event that is discretionary?
It's not discretionary anymore. It's happening. And so we have to deliver the event. That does not mean that we can, be reckless. We need to look at the event and manage it hard, be tight, but to create opportunity.
The CEO of Vancouver's 2010 Olympic Organizing Committee is enthusiastic about the city hosting 7 World Cup games next year.
I think you set out with these things with the best of intentions. Now, what you want to do is to stage these events to achieve a greater good, like to achieve real deep legacies as a result.
The FIFA World Cup 26 Vancouver Host Committee has kept a low profile compared to Vanok, but the lead says
you're going to see a lot more of all of us. So this is a big group project
with the Soccer Federation driving the bus.
It's very much a centrally coordinated event. And so typically what happens is that FIFA has milestones around planning, and then the 16 cities, we present our information.
And that means some consistency across the host cities in Canada, the US, and Mexico on everything from turf to ticketing. And organizers won't have full information until December.
Part of our challenge is that we're still operating in a zone of unknowns. These details are still landing. For example, we don't know what teams are playing here yet. That is like a pivotal piece of information. And once we know that, it's going to be like floodgates opening.
In addition to logistics is the question of what kind of vibe the World Cup will bring.
The atmosphere downtown is vital to the overall success of the games.
We very much want to see the same magic happen that we saw during Expo, the same magic that we saw during Taylor Swift, the Olympics.
And Penny is here now. Penny, still plenty of unknowns. So do you expect we're going to get regular updates from local organizers after the summer ends?
Yeah, Mijung, that's what it sounds like. Adcock told me to expect an update in September and then likely monthly until that draw happens in December. That's when the rubber is really going to hit the road, and fans will know where their favorite teams are playing and be able to make travel plans accordingly. But as she said, a lot of work to do between now and next June, Mijung.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy time. Okay, thanks, Penny.
You bet.
Vancouver City Council has approved a motion to extend its liquor service hours. The city unanimously voted in favor of allowing bars in the downtown core to serve liquor until 4 a.m. Those outside downtown will be allowed to stay open till 3 a.m. on weekends and 2 on weekdays. The amended motion specifies the new rules won't apply to businesses on the downtown east side. It also calls for the mayor to ask TransLink to extend SkyTrain hours to align with the new liquor laws.
We've also seen the proliferation of illegal after-hours clubs popping up, and so literally you've seen folks, walk out of one legal establishment where that business owner has to play by the rules. They're paying the property taxes, they're dealing with rising costs, and then patrons walk out of an establishment and go next door or down the block, and they're in an unlicensed or an unsafe environment.
Councillor Sarah Kirby-Young says keeping people safe is at the forefront of the motion, where they can now consume alcohol longer in licensed establishments. Vancouver City Council is taking the next step in what it's calling sweeping changes that will cut down on red tape and ramp up housing development. As CTV's Isabella Zaffarisi reports, critics are concerned the public's voice won't get heard.
It's a lengthy process for buildings like this to be completed. From the rezoning phase to the development application, it all comes with a cost.
Time is money.
Staff want to make the process faster in the Broadway and Cambie corridors by eliminating comprehensive development districts or CD1 zoning, opting for standardized zoning instead.
They are sweeping changes. It absolutely is a big deal as far as eliminating that sort of more nuanced, granular zoning approach that we have with comprehensive development districts.
Some in the development industry say if approved, it's a positive step forward.
It just means that more houses can be delivered, more types of housing can be delivered that appeals to different affordability levels, different stages of life for many residents. So it really addresses a lot of the key things that is needed for definitely for homes in Vancouver.
The Home Builders Association Vancouver says while it supports the report, it cautions what impact this could have on permitting.
It's great to remove barriers at one set of requirements, but if it just moves over to the next one, it doesn't really help that process.
There is one process that would change: public hearings. In 2025, staff say rezoning applications around Broadway and Cambie made up 40% of all public hearings.
It essentially gives a carte blanche to all the developers to build high-rises all along the Broadway corridor without any public consultation and without any consideration by council. That, to my mind, is a mistake.
But Green City Councillor Pete Fry says people will have a chance to weigh in when the report goes to a public hearing in the fall before council makes its final decision. Isabella Zaffarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver is seeking a new city manager as Paul Mokry leaves his role of 4 years. Mayor Ken Sim announced the exit today, describing the decision as mutual and wishing Mokry success in the future. Mokry has worked various roles with the city since 2011. Deputy City Manager Karen Levitt will temporarily assume his role. The latest effort to stop cliff jumping in Lynn Canyon, which has claimed dozens of lives. And he was a pioneer of heavy metal and even reality TV. Remembering Ozzy Osbourne just weeks after his farewell performance. When CTV News continues. Stay with us. New signs set up at Lynn Canyon are using the language of younger generations to discourage cliff jumping at the park. One reads, quote, "Injured in Lynn Canyon? 100% not the vibe." Another says real ones keep their friends alive. The District of North Vancouver says 40 people have died in Lynn Canyon in the past 50 years, and this month has been a busy one for rescues. The music world is reeling at the news of the death of Ozzy Osbourne. The heavy metal icon known as the Prince of Darkness passed away at the age of 76. CTV's Heather Wright takes us back over the life of the extraordinary performer.
The godfather of heavy metal, the Prince of Darkness. Ozzy Osbourne was a showman, a singer, and later a reality TV star who rose to fame in the 1970s as the frontman of Black Sabbath. Known for his iconic wail, Osbourne was an icon of the heavy metal genre he helped pioneer. Today, the Osbourne family said in a statement, "It is with more sadness than mere words can convey that we have to report that our beloved Ozzy Osbourne has passed away this morning. He was with his family and surrounded by love." Born John Michael Osbourne in Birmingham, England, Osbourne recorded more than half a dozen albums with Black Sabbath, including hits like Paranoid and War Pigs. But by 1979, his struggles with substance abuse were so severe, he was fired by the band.
Mama, I'm coming home.
Osbourne went on to have a successful solo career and was later inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, with both Black Sabbath and as a solo artist. Both beloved and controversial, Osbourne once bit off the head of a bat while on stage and was arrested for trying to strangle his wife while drunk. He later reconciled with his wife Sharon and became a reality TV dad to a whole new generation in the show The Osbournes, along with 2 of his 5 children, Jack and Kelly. In 2020, Osbourne announced he had Parkinson's disease and, despite his health challenges, tried many times to return to the stage. Just weeks ago, he performed from a black throne on stage with Black Sabbath in his hometown of Birmingham. It was his first show in 20 years with the original band members, and it would be the last of his legendary life. Heather Wright, CTV News.
A Surrey woman is headed to the international stage after being crowned Mrs. Canada World. Fallon Shalanthi, a mother of 2 and community advocate, took home the national title in Montreal this past weekend. She was chosen from a group of inspiring women across the country and will now go on to represent Canada at the Mrs. World 2026 competition in Las Vegas in January. Shalanthi is a cosmetologist whose platform, Hope for Little Lights, supports vulnerable children while raising awareness about poverty and mental health. Well, Stephanie Florin joins us live from Nat Bailey Stadium. The weather is certainly taking top prize tonight. A beautiful evening to take in a ball game.
Love is in the air. It is very exciting. It's getting really busy. The vibes are high. Everybody who's just walked in the door, the first 500 people are taking home a Vancouver Canadians Pride button. So they're doing a button giveaway tonight. It is Pride night, so come on down. The first pitch isn't until 7:05 against the Eugene Emeralds. We have a beautiful night tonight. It is going to be spectacular. Not a cloud in the sky. In fact, this rainbow bat is going to be given to the biggest fan during the 5th inning. So lots of excitement happening. And then as for tomorrow, we're going to see those temperatures begin to spike. It's going to really warm up between 24 by the water and up to 27 inland. That'll feel closer to 31.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
And I am going to be speaking with the chairman of the Pride Committee, Rick Hurlbut, coming up here. So don't go away, and I will have your full forecast. Back to you.
All right. I love your glasses, Stephanie. They look really good on you.
Love is love.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Vancouver police wear body cameras, and soon parking enforcement officers will have the added protection as well. Also ahead.
Even the weather can be so triggering when a thunderstorm comes through or when there's smoke in the sky.
An emotional anniversary for Jasper residents a year after devastating wildfires, reflecting on the loss and the long road ahead to rebuild the town. People in the town of Jasper are coming together today to reflect on the devastating wildfire that destroyed a third of their town 1 year ago. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti has the story.
1 year ago, wildfire ripped through Jasper National Park, destroying a third of the mountain town and surrounding areas. People here are still grappling with the loss.
It's just been an interesting year, I guess, living here post-fire. It's just changed. Everything's changed, and it'll never be the same.
On Tuesday, dozens gathered to commemorate the anniversary. More than 25,000 people evacuated the national park overnight, not knowing what they'd come home to.
We went straight through it, and there was ash falling on our brand new car, and I was just freaking out.
The events and pain still fresh in people's minds.
I remember that night so clearly, and even the weather can be so triggering when a thunderstorm comes through or when there's smoke in the sky.
Some days you feel strong and good, and other days like today, it's emotional.
Officials praise the determination and efforts of firefighters to battle the wildfire that grew to over 32,000 hectares. The day is not only a reflection of the past year and what was lost, but a chance to remember and honor wildland firefighter Morgan K. Kitchen, who was killed by a falling tree in firefight.
Morgan's courage and his sacrifice will never be forgotten.
After the destructive wildfire, some Jasperites chose to leave the town and start a new life elsewhere. However, 1 year later, the majority remain. Some say they stayed for community.
I think I really needed to be around community that's gone through this and understands what we've been through. It's not just about the trauma of the physical fire, it's about the loss of community.
It's been my home. My people are my people. I would feel uncomfortable going to a town that I didn't know anyone.
While the town is still recovering with a long road ahead to rebuilding homes and destroyed businesses, Jasperites remain hopeful the future is bright for the small mountain town. In Jasper, Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News.
Parking enforcement officers in Vancouver will begin wearing body cameras next month. The city's launching a 6-month pilot project saying there's been a rise in both physical and verbal abuse towards the officers. The city says one employee was recently punched in the face after issuing a ticket in a no stopping zone. 15 officers will wear the same cameras currently being used by the VPD.
No one likes getting a parking ticket, but everyone deserves, having a safe and respectful workplace and not be afraid for going to work to doing their job, risk of being assaulted and verbally abused.
Recordings that don't capture assaults or other crimes will be deleted within 5 days. Those that need further investigation will be passed over to police. The city says at the end of the pilot, it will compare the number of hostile incidents faced by officers wearing the cameras against those who don't. A speeding driver on his phone narrowly missed hitting a BC Highway Patrol officer in a high-vis vest. The 27-year-old Kelowna man was clocked going 145 kilometers an hour in a 110 zone on Highway 97 near 83 Mile House last week. As police tried to pull him over, he got dangerously close to one of the officers. His explanation was that he was reading a text message. He's now facing more than $700 in fines for speeding and distracted driving. The latest on the Jeffrey Epstein file drama. Republicans break for summer a day early to avoid embarrassing votes. And
there's no way that we're going to spend money in the United States, for probably many years to come.
The travel ban has the Trump administration calling Canadians mean and nasty. The tense war of words in the middle of tariff uncertainty. That's ahead. Political name-calling in the midst of trade war negotiations has the country back on edge tonight. U.S. President Donald Trump taking issue with Canadians having their elbows up and calling the move to boycott travel to the States nasty. CTV's Katie Griffin reports.
We have Genevieve here out of Montreal.
At Maker House, the push to buy Canadian is as strong as ever.
We're up still double last year this past week, so even after Canada Day, the push to buy Canadian is sustaining. The current upswing is more people finding the value in keeping their money in their community.
That's what drew this couple in. They're visiting from Cambridge, Ontario.
We usually like taking trips to the States because there was so much to do, so much to see, but now we've been finding that going to places around Canada is a lot better. We just really like supporting, Canada right now.
Trade tensions heightened after U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra said this at a conference in Washington State.
Canadians staying home, that's their business. I don't like it, but if that's what they want to do, it's fine. If you want to ban American alcohol, that's fine. Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with, okay, because of some of those steps.
I think Trump is Trump, and we listen to him, and then we just let one thing, what he says, go through 1 year and out the other.
As negotiations continue between Canada and the U.S., Ontario's premier says Canada needs to match President Donald Trump's tariffs dollar for dollar.
There's one thing President Trump understands. is strength. He doesn't understand or appreciate weakness. He will roll over us like a cement roller if you show an ounce of weakness.
As the trade war drags on, for many Canadians, the choice is easy.
We have to respect our country, to respect ourselves, and there's no way that we're going to spend money in the United States, for probably many years to come.
There's a new roadblock in the push for the Trump administration to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Republicans announced today that the House will recess for summer break a day early in the face of efforts to force a vote on the release of the Epstein files. It comes as the Department of Justice says it plans to meet with Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell as calls grow for her to testify against the accused sex trafficker.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt.
In his 2014 campaign, Trump promised to release the Epstein client list, but backtracked earlier this month, claiming there's nothing incriminating to release. Last week, he asked the Attorney General to release the grand jury testimony, just a fraction of the case's documents. Travelers at YVR can now pony up, literally, and YVR's not horsing around when it comes to animal therapy for anxious flyers.
We thought, okay, let's go to the half mark and check, and then probably we'll come back. By the time he's half mark, he didn't even want to sit.
Conquering the Grouse Grind, no problem for this 3-year-old. What helped motivate this mighty mountain climber? That's ahead. We're not horsing around. YVR is now bringing in some pint-sized ponies to help passengers keep their travel stress in check. Meet Magic and Tinkerbell, 2 miniature therapy ponies, now part of YVR's animal therapy team. The airport is the first in Canada to introduce ponies as part of its Less Airport Stress initiative. The dynamic duo will join ambassador dogs from St. John's Ambulance on a trial basis to offer emotional support and a calming presence to passengers.
Just watching people's excitement as they come down to check it out. We've had one little girl already this morning. She's been by 3 or 4 times just to come back and just ogle at them. It was her shoes that she thought were comparing with the pony shoes. So it's great. It's just watching those smiles it's all that matters.
The ponies are from Green Acres Therapy Horses in Delta, which offers horse enrichment visits and workshops. Let's head back out to Nat Bailey Stadium. Stephanie, a great idea to have ponies at the airport, but I think it's not just anxious travelers who are going to want to hang out with those cute ponies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's pretty exciting. It's a great night tonight, not only a beautiful summer night, but a very special theme night here at the Nat. We have Pride Night with the Vancouver Canadians. We're going to be speaking with the chairman here coming up, so let's get right to the weather. We are in luck for the next stretch of days. So if you've been missing the heat, it's coming back, and those temperatures are going to spike tomorrow because if you look at the satellite radar, we are locked in on the south coast with some high pressure. For the almanac, you can see we hit a high today just shy of 24 degrees. We should be around that 22-degree mark, and we're going to be back in that zone in a few days. So enjoy the heat if you like it. And we broke a record in 1990 at 29.7 degrees. So we're going to take you down the North Island first. A little bit of drizzle likely in the morning with some cloud cover for Port Hardy and a high of 18 degrees, but warming up to the mid-20s there for the eastern side. Campbell River and Comox hitting 25. We'll see fog and some cloud tomorrow for Tofino, but then some sunny breaks as well. Inland hitting 29 in Port Alberni. Victoria and the Gulf Islands sitting at 23 degrees for daytime highs. And then jumping over to the Sunshine Coast and the Sea to Sky, we're really going to feel the heat because with the Humidex, 27 is going to feel closer to 31. So you're going to want all your sun safety tomorrow, even if you're coming down to the Nat tonight. You're going to want sunblock. The UV's at an 8 tomorrow, which is very high. Inland temperatures reaching 27. And one look here at your 7-day forecast. No rain for for us, and we're going to be really feeling the heat the next 2 days. And as we head into the weekend, we'll slowly start to see those temperatures rebound back to seasonal. So I'm going to bring in Rick Holbert here. He is the chairman of the game night for Pride here for the Vancouver Canadians. Okay, tell us about the theme tonight, first of all.
Well, of course, it's a beautiful night for baseball, and it's always a great time for Pride. And so we really want to extend the baseball experience to every aspect of the community, and that includes the gay community. Baseball, softball, slow pitch, they've always been part of gay community athletic experience, and so to extend that to professional baseball just made a lot of sense.
What year did Pride Night start?
Well, we started in 2019. I had noticed that a lot of major league teams, including my home team, the Toronto Blue Jays, were having Pride Nights. So I reached out to the Canadians, and with their help, as well as the Blue Jays and Vancouver Parks and Rec, which operate Nat Bailey Stadium, we were able to put together our first Pride Night in 2019. We missed a couple of seasons because the team was on the road. They couldn't play in Canada because of COVID, but we came back big and strong in 22, and so this is now our 5th Pride game. I'm really pleased.
And so why is this so important to Canadians fans, this theme tonight?
Well, the thing, of course, is that gay people have always been part of society. For a lot of time, we had to hide. In fact, for a long time, we were illegal. And so when things changed, we saw that sports could change too.
Amazing. It's going to be a great night tonight. So CTV Weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. Back to you, Mijang.
Okay, thanks a lot, Stephanie. We'll talk to you in a bit. The Grouse Grind is a grueling 2.9-kilometer climb straight up a mountain that challenges even the fittest hikers. On the weekend, a pint-sized first-timer finished the grind alongside his astonished parents, who had figured their 3-year-old wouldn't even make it a quarter of the way. CTV's Shannon Patterson has the story.
Look at this.
3-year-old Valuvan Wesley is an energetic, determined little boy.
Whoa.
He always wants to push boundaries and is very outdoor person.
On the weekend, his parents decided to introduce their son to one of their favorite hikes, the Grouse Grind.
This Sunday, we just thought we'd just head up, doing 25% of the ground, like 1/4, and then bring him back.
But Valuvan didn't want to stop at the quarter mark, so the family kept climbing.
Look, we thought, okay, let's go to the half mark and check, and then probably we'll come back. By the time he's half mark, he didn't even want to sit. I was so astonished seeing that.
Do you want to go up or go down?
Go up. Okay.
Go up. But it's very, very difficult.
As they continued up, other hikers started to take notice.
So a lot of people were very impressed, and yeah, they were all stopping by, giving him high fives.
He saw people coming in, and everybody was motivating him as well. Oh my God, good job, go ahead. And he's like, oh yeah, let's go, let's go. Yeah. Good job, boys. Yeah.
It took a little over 2 hours, but Valuvan climbed all 2,830 steps to complete the Grouse Grind.
He pushed himself, and then we just actually tagged along with him.
So you did it all the way to the top?
Yes.
What was that like?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You could do it again?
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. I couldn't describe it. We were so proud as parents.
While they know not every 3-year-old is cut out for the grind.
One thing I would say is trust your kid. Trust your kid on try to explore options, what you have not done.
We think that kids are, they can't do much, but that's not true. They are very resilient, they are very focused, and they can push their limits.
Valuvan turns 4 next month and wants to keep climbing.
I think our aim is to do Garibaldi at some point, but again, we want to take him in his own pace, see how he does.
His parents believe if you don't have preconceived notions of what a child can do,
you never know something amazing will turn out like this.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, North Vancouver.
Long-term care homes across Metro Vancouver are turning to technology to remind residents with dementia to stay hydrated in the heat.
Show is better than tell, because if you tell people, drink your water, it sounds condescending, right? No one's want to hear that. But when they see visual cues like that, people naturally pick up the glass and drink with what they saw in the videos.
A new program launched by Vancouver Coastal Health has long-term care homes projecting videos onto walls in an effort to get residents with dementia to mirror healthy actions like drinking water or eating breakfast. The TVs have been set up at 5 VCH care homes spanning Vancouver, the North Shore, and Richmond. Blackpink is red hot, fans in a frenzy as the K-pop supergroup takes over Toronto and its massive new outdoor concert venue, plus Jason's flights. Adam finds out how a local man ended up spending his retirement realizing a childhood dream up in the sky on the Sawatsky sign-off. Hundreds of fans lined up to get their hands on exclusive merch at a pop-up in Toronto today ahead of Blackpink's back-to-back shows in the city. The K-pop supergroup kicks off their first concert tonight at Toronto's newest concert venue for their Deadline World Tour. Toronto is the only Canadian stop on the tour. Speaking of Toronto, the Raptors are coming back to Vancouver. The team will open its preseason slate at Rogers Arena on October 6th with a game against the Denver Nuggets. It will be Vancouver's first Canada Series game since 2023. Tickets go on sale August the 7th. It's nice that Vancouver residents get to see some professional basketball.
I know,
right?
we need some in this town.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, this is really neat. A rare and amazing sight in BC as a critically endangered sea turtle was seen swimming near the north coast of Hawaii. The leatherback turtle is believed to have traveled all the way from Indonesia to feed on jellyfish in BC waters. In addition to being the largest sea turtle species in the world, the leatherback is also the only turtle that has adapted to deal with the cooler temperatures of the Pacific Northwest. According to the DFO, there have been fewer than 150 leatherback sightings in all of BC since 1931.
So cool.
Amazing. Yeah, I heard that the woman who spotted it first thought it was a sea lion or something, but then they said, no, it's a turtle.
Yeah,
amazing.
Like seeing one.
Amazing it can swim all the way from Indonesia.
Yeah, incredible.
Okay, Mary, what's coming up tonight?
Yeah, Mijung, we'll have more reaction on the city's decision to extend liquor service until 4 a.m. downtown Vancouver. We spoke to the group Movement YVR about how our transit system doesn't support the later hours. TransLink also sent out a statement saying they can extend SkyTrain hours. We'll have more on 11:30. Mijung.
All right, thanks, Mary. Well, not all superheroes wear capes. Some wear a paraglider or fly planes to save the day. That's the case for one man on Vancouver Island whose passion for flight landed him in animal rescue. Adam explains in tonight's Sawatsky sign-off.
This is Luna.
Although his dogs are all different,
And this is Kilo. And then Nani.
Jason Biggins says they all have one thing in common.
All rescues. As a kid, so I always had a connection with an animal.
As a kid, Jason also always dreamed of flying like a superhero.
And I can picture Superman saying that up and away and then just free, gone.
But it wasn't until he was in university and tried paragliding for the first time
You feel like a superhero. It feels magical.
that Jason thought he'd found a way to realize that dream.
That just captivated me, and I was hooked for years.
For decades, Jason taught paragliding around the world. And during one of those trips, he and his wife rescued their first animal.
A starving pup came up out of the bush, and we scooped that pup up and brought her back to health.
Jason and his wife ended up living with 9 rescue dogs before someone suggested he combine his passion for animals with his passion for flying.
An idea of service, I think, it just seemed to fit.
So, when Jason retired, he earned his pilot's license, bought a family member's 7-year-old plane,
Wow, this thing climbs.
and volunteered to pick up wildlife in far-flung places before transporting them to animal rescue centers.
So I've got the seal pup on board, and we are looking good.
Because airplanes can fly in a straight line fast, a rescue that might take a day by land and sea can be accomplished in less than an hour by air.
That can be the game changer for an animal that's injured or, orphaned.
When Jason started getting so many calls to help, he launched a charity called Big to the Rescue and began sharing visuals of his passengers on social media, which have earned millions of views.
Nothing really cuter, I would have to say.
And nothing really better than this.
I'm present and I feel like I'm doing what I meant to do, and it feels great.
Because even better than learning to fly like a superhero is wielding that power to help like one.
Pretty special that I can help little critters.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, North Saanich.
The animal rescue hero.
Yeah, sounds like a dream job. A perfect day to be up in the skies. Perfect day to be up at Nat Bailey Stadium. Gorgeous night, and it's Pride Night tonight. Stephanie Florian's there.
It sure is Pride Night. Love is love. Go Seas go. I've made some new friends here. We're feeling the love, and the music is on, and the game is about to start. 7:05, first pitch. Get down here. It's going to be a beautiful night. Back to you.
Cute mascots.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for joining us. Mary's back at 11:30. Good night.